Okay, I think we'll get started. So thanks everybody for joining in today's webinar. Just to get started, I'll go over just the format of today. As you'll notice in your window, you have a chat area there. So if you do have any questions, feel free to add them in the chat and we'll address them at the end if there are any. What we'll be going through is we'll start with Adam Howitson being able to give an introduction on LogiSense and then handing over to Sarah Wallace to present the findings of Forrester Research. So with that, Adam, take it away.
Thank you very much, Tim. Again, my name is Adam Howitson. I'm the CEO at LogiSense. LogiSense, and the reason we're here today is to talk about some of the changes that we're experiencing economically and those that are putting pressure on all of our businesses. The way that consumer expectations and B2B expectations alike are changing around the way that we pay for and procure products and services. We're in an interesting state, and LogiSense specializes in this area, being able to monetize usage-based product plans, pricing plans, and models, and help organizations take those to market. The reason why this is increasingly prevalent is that we're in the midst of an economic shift, and we all feel it every day. We feel it in different ways, whether it's record inflation, whether it's a massive amount of quantitative easing that's causing some uncertainty with respect to the value of forward-looking capital, whether it's the increases in interest rates that we will see follow that, or whether it's relatively new phenomenon, particularly in high technology, communications, IoT, and other markets, where for the first time this year, the narrative of perpetual growth is starting to come out of the market. And some companies with large valuations tied to that unprecedented and seemingly continuous growth, such as Netflix, Amazon, Shopify, are starting to, perhaps as reaching the plateau of potential growth, or perhaps as a confluence of these economic circumstances that we outline, are experiencing for the first time loss in subscribers, loss in potential growth. And that's new with respect to the way that those companies are valued. I would put forward, and working with our clients and some of what we're going to hear today, some of this is that the old models don't work anymore and aren't going to work in the future. We achieved peak cable television in 2011, and the concept of being locked into $3,000 or $4,000 a year worth of commitment for 800 channels that you may not watch and 3 that you may value no longer flies with today's consumer. And I think likewise in our B2B engagements, we see the same type of trepidation and the same type of scrutiny around the value received for money. And increasingly, organizations are looking to offer more value to their customers. They're looking to not only capitalize on the shifts in the market and shifts in buyer expectation, but they're also looking to protect themselves. And today we're going to hear a little bit about one of LogiSense's large customers, a $50 billion networking communications provider, who had an opportunity within the market and had a very time-sensitive need to make a transition to a usage-based billing model in purveying their software as a service out to their clients. And as we all transitioned at the start of the pandemic to a work-from-home configuration and environment, particularly in communications, technology, and IoT type market segments, we saw a massive shift where the consumption of digital services really spiked as companies immediately had to pivot to provide a virtual alternative to their workforces. And that virtual alternative in many cases is going to remain in place because the talent pool simply won't accept going back to the old way of doing things. And as a result, a purveyor of digital services had a very limited window in which they could either capitalize on or let slide the market opportunity represented by this increasing consumption of digital and communication services. And LogiSense, through its usage-based billing platform, was able to offer a competitive consumption-based model that this provider could take to market to help them capitalize in a timely manner on capturing the market share that was created as a unique one-time circumstance of this shift in virtual working environment and this spike in the requirement for communications and digital services. So one is a direct response to competitive pressure, 2 as a response to a unique confluence of economic circumstance, and 3 just by pragmatic matter, being able to bill your customers based on the value that they perceive for the products and services that they actually consume is just good business. And if you're able to directly correlate value and you're able to offer novel and competitive usage-based pricing models, both in B2B scenarios and in consumer scenarios, that is largely going to set organizations who are successful in this space apart from those who are not. And Sarah, if we could come forward one slide here. As I alluded to in the context of we have achieved peak cable, and we can all think of different services in our lives now. I think we're seeing this proliferate through the streaming markets, where at one time it was very novel and very new to shift this into a subscription. And Netflix was the first to do this with digital media consumption. And we're seeing increasingly that now the average household is supporting 8, 9, 10 subscriptions simultaneously. And they're not getting that value necessarily from those direct relationships that they were when they were brand new and novel. And as a result, LogiSense believes deeply and is helping its customers to move to consumption-based pricing plans and move to consumption-based go-to-market models to help capture market share, to help offer competitive pricing, profitable pricing that interacts economically with the customer in a way where they will derive great value, in the way that they will perceive value, because we actually measure and bill based on the metric that is tied to the customer's value. And we think that we'll see these types of models proliferate further through the market as pressure to spend less raw dollars hits all of us, both in our personal and in our professional lives, to ensure that you are getting great value for money. It's no longer acceptable to say, well, I'll just maintain 10 subscriptions and I may just use one of them during this month. And it's okay if the other 9 are purely wasted or unutilized. And I think it's increasingly important that we appeal to these very human factors that are entering into our personal and our business economics. So LogiSense would posit that the usage-based billing age is upon us today. And we're starting to see some of the first movers in the industry adopt these types of models to respond to that competitive pressure and to this economic pressure, and also to appeal to the sense of value in the consumer market, whether that's a consumer in the traditional sense or consumer of B2B services. And it really is the emergence of the sharing economy, where I can be billed for my utilization of a specific asset, or if I'm the vendor of an asset, rather than selling it once and having a low utilization, I could offer better value per consumer and get a higher utilization out of an asset that may be used by multiple consumers by billing it based on its usage and being able to drive a higher utilization out of those assets or out of that deployed capital as an organization. So a lot of changes are facing us, but today we wanted to engage with you and share some information where we have requested and commissioned Forrester to interview one of our clients and apply their TEI methodology, which Sarah is going to walk us through and describe in a little bit more detail in a moment here, to highlight one of these examples where, due to a shift in, again, competitive pressure and having competitors who were able to bill based on usage, and being able to make that shift in an extraordinarily short period of time, leveraging LogiSense technology, helped a $50 billion a year global networking solutions provider to capture market share quickly during this period of fluctuation and secure a consumption-based capacity to take their products to market, both now and in the future, using LogiSense. So with that, we'll advance one slide further. I'll just share with you that LogiSense's deep experience in this space is focused around the everything as a service market, XaaS or ZaaS, IoT and connected services, as well as communications clients. But don't let that limit your imagination. In one example here, Amadeus, as you'll see, that could be, as a service, travel services. Could be pure digital services. It could be the sale of a physical and hybrid product, where a physical product exists that has a connected digital service, in the example of Garmin with their wearable devices and connected devices. And you can really let your imagination run wild, because if you can count it, if you can measure it, we can bill for it in a competitive, new, transparently tied to value, very agile, usage-based way. And we're excited today to have Sarah from Forrester share some of their explorations with our clients and some of their findings as they've gone through this process to understand how we were able to help our clients make this transition. So with that, Sarah, I'd love to hand it over to you.
Thanks so much, Adam. Hello, everyone. I'm Sarah Wallace. I'm a consultant for Forrester Research. I'd like to thank LogiSense for having me on their webinar today, and I look forward to sharing the results of Forrester's Total Economic Impact Study of LogiSense. First, to give you some background, so Forrester's Total Economic Impact, also known as TEI, studies use business value justification analysis to help organizations understand the financial impact of a technology investment. The TEI methodology consists of 4 components: cost, benefits, flexibility, and risk. It's a proven industry standard framework that models all aspects of a piece of technology, solution, or a platform, and the associated impact on the business, and illustrates the ROI of products and services. Forrester uses a very rigorous research methodology to create TI studies. Every study is based on due diligence, independent customer interviews, primary research, and a financial model framework, which includes the previously mentioned benefits, costs, flexibility, and risks. So for the LogiSense study, Forrester interviewed a LogiSense customer, which is a global networking solutions provider that has an annual revenue of 50 billion USD and has 75,000 employees. Forrester interviewed 2 stakeholders from this customer organization, a leader of IT and a director of product management. Forrester interviewed these 2 decision makers at the customer organization because they have experience implementing and using LogiSense. Forrester used this experience to project a 3-year financial analysis. So first, I'm going to give some background to the LogiSense's customers' challenges. So according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, prior to the pandemic in 2019, fewer than 6% of the American workforce was primarily working from home. And as the pandemic started in mid-March of 2020, just within a few months, so by May, that increased to 35% of the American workforce primarily working from home. So in other words, enterprises had to quickly transition to a sudden remote workforce and provide the collaboration tools to do so. And this means the collaboration market became fiercely competitive. So the interviewees said that prior to using LogiSense, their organization's legacy rating and billing tools could not support the monetization strategies that their company was pursuing for new collaboration tool capabilities. The organization was using a third-party billing system that was restricting them from expanding these capabilities, and they did not have the internal developmental skills to build the necessary billing components in-house in a timely manner. Because the fierce competition in the collaboration space, the customer's main priority was a time to market benefit. With using LogiSense, the customer was able to bring their new collaboration and tool capabilities to market in a 90-day period versus taking 9 months to build it out in-house without LogiSense. The result was a faster customer acquisition and retention. The customer organization was able to acquire 40 million customers in the first 2 years of offering these collaboration tool capabilities. This led to 300 million in revenue in year 1, compared to 75 million without using LogiSense. That's factoring in in-house 9-month build-out without LogiSense. And with an operating margin of 5% and risk adjustment of 25%, this leads to a present value benefit of 12.9 million. And here on this slide, we see a little bit more of a visual summary of Forrester's assessment of the 3-year impact of investing in LogiSense. As per this use case, the present value of the time to market benefit equates, as we mentioned, to 12.9 million, and subtracting the 3.3 million in costs over the 3-year period equates a net present value of 9.25 million. This leads to an ROI of 283%. And here we see the quote from the Director of Product Management from the customer organization. And he says, if we had to build the capability ourselves, it would have been a 6 to 9 month project, probably more, and likely we would have been laid out to market. And here we have another quote from the Director of Product Management from the customer organization regarding the time to market benefit. LogiSense was the enabler of our new collaborative tool capabilities. LogiSense made the difference between being able to bring it to market or not. And as factored into the financial model, the customer organization's director of product management also mentioned that taking an extra 9 months to build the new collaboration tool capabilities in-house would have also taken time away from the IT staff's day jobs. And as you can see in this slide, we have the summary of a 9-month faster rollout, which led to 20 million customers in the first year and 750 million in revenue over 3 years. So the customer organization also reported benefits that were not necessarily quantified, but were very important to improving the collaboration business operations. And as you can see by this slide, first we have improving tax management. So in order to bring the new collaboration tool capabilities to market, the customer organization had to comply with tax laws across various geographic areas. And LogiSense enabled the organization to tax the use of the new collaboration tool capabilities across different regions. This helped the customer not only meet tax law and regulation requirements around the world, it also allowed it to expand into the UK with rollout planned in other countries in the future. Next, there's enabling rate of new service. So the customer's organization needed to be able to rate the telecommunication charges associated with the use of the new collaboration tool capabilities to bring them to market. LogiSense helped with the rating of these types of charges, enabled the billing for such offerings, making it possible to bring it to market. And third, we have the bolstering of portfolios. So the customer's organization, they needed to add these new collaboration tool capabilities to its overall collaboration portfolio to stay competitive in the collaboration space. And LogiSense enabled the customer to bring these new tools to market in a timely manner, which enabled the organization to retain market share and gain new customers. On this slide, we have a summary of the customer's costs, which show the value of implementation and ongoing management costs, as well as annual fees, which equal a 3-year total cost of 3.4 million. And note that the average annual fees for a typical LogiSense customer are more between 100,000 and 500,000. The cost for this particular use case may be more because of the scale of the project. And as part of the TEI framework, Forrester also looks at flexibility and risk factors. And what I would like to highlight with this slide is LogiSense's ability to enable their customer to be more flexible. So in this case, it was the ability to be more flexible with the pricing of the new collaboration tool capabilities, the ability to be flexible with taxation of the new collaboration tool capabilities, and also the flexibility to expand into new geographies. And here we have the financial summary slide highlighting the 283% ROI in 3 years of using LogiSense. And with this slide, I'd just like to mention that this webinar was an abridged version of a full TEI study. It was commissioned by LogiSense, but concluded by Forrester, who also maintains editorial control over the study. And that concludes my presentation of the LogiSense TEI study. And now I believe it is time for Q&A.
Yes, thank you very much, Sarah. At the moment, we don't have any questions in the chat area. So what we will do is from here, I just wanted to say thank you to both you and Adam for joining and presenting the material for us. And for all those who have registered for the event, we will be sending out an email that has availability to download the actual full report that Sarah just mentioned to be able to take a look at all of the details. So with that, I think we'll end the webinar here. And again, thank you for everybody for joining.